Welcome back, dear friends, to your daily dose of ancient wisdom. Today we continue our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapurana, Tritiya Skandha, or Book 3, Discourse 22, which talks about Sage Kardama accepting the hand of Devahuti. Maitreya continued. The emperor felt abashed, as it were, to hear his exalted virtues and exploits thus extolled, and replied to the sage, who was leading a retired life, as follows. The Manu said, "The cosmic being, who is the Veda personified, evolved you, the Brahmanas, rich in austere penance, learning, and yoga, which is concentration of mind, and averse to the pleasures of senses, from his mouth, for the protection or continuation of his own self in the form of the Vedas, and for the protection of the Brahmanas, the same thousand-footed being evolved us, the Kshatriyas, from his 1,000 arms. Hence, they speak of the Brahmana race as his heart and the Kshatriya race as his outer limbs or arms. That is why the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas protect each other as well as their own self, while as a matter of fact, the Lord himself, who is both the cause and the effect and yet immutable, protects them through each other. All my doubts have been resolved by your very sight, inasmuch as your holiness has of your own accord lovingly pointed out the duties of a king who is anxious to protect his subjects. It is my good fortune that I have been able to see you, for you cannot be easily perceived by those who have not subdued their mind. And I am all the more fortunate in that I have touched with my head the blessed dust of your feet. Luckily enough, I have been instructed by you in the duties of the king, and thus a great favor has been bestowed on me. And thank God I have listened with open and eager ears of your charming words. Be graciously pleased to listen, O sage, to the prayer of my humble self, troubled in mind due to the affection of my daughter Devahuti. This daughter of mine, a sister of Priyavrata and Uttanapada, is on the lookout for a match worthy to her in point of age, character, and good qualities. The moment she heard from sage Narada of your noble character, learning, comely appearance, young age, and other virtues, she fixed her mind on you. Therefore, accept her as your wife, O chief of Brahmanas, since I offer her with reverence to you, and because she is in every way fit to be your helpmate in discharge of your household duties. It is not commendable even on the part of one who is absolutely free from attachment, much less of him who is addicted to the pleasure of the sense, to spurn an object of desire that has come to itself. He who rejects an object offered to him and begs it of a miser loses its widespread reputation, and his pride is humbled by disrespectful behavior of others. I heard of you, O wise man, that you were prepared to marry. Therefore, accept her hand, which is being offered by me, since you have not taken a vow of perpetual celibacy. The sage replied, Certainly I have a desire to marry, and your daughter too has not yet been affianced to anyone else. Hence, our marriage, according to what is known as Brahma method, in which the girl is given away duly adorned according to one's means to a bridegroom invited for the purpose, will be quite in fitness of things. That desire of mine, which has been duly recognized in the procedure laid down in your scriptures for conducting the nuptials, may be realized through this daughter of yours. Who would not accept with honor the hands of your daughter Devahuti, who overshadows, as it were, by her artless splendor, the very luster of her ornaments? The other day, when she was sporting on the top of her royal mansion, following her ball with bewildered eyes, the elegance of her person heightened by the thinking of ornaments on her feet, Visvavasu, a Gandharva, well known for his comeliness, was stupefied with infatuation to see her, and fell down from his aerial car. What wise men would not welcome her, the very ornament of womanhood, the beloved daughter of Swayambhuva yourself, and sister of Uttanapada, who cannot even be perceived by those that have not adorned the gracious feet of the Lord, and who has come on her own accord seeking my hand. Therefore, I shall take to wife this noble girl on condition that I shall remain with her till she bears in her womb, through me, a ray of supreme spirit. Thereafter, I am thinking of mostly devoting myself to practices like self control, which do not involve destruction of life and characterize the life of a sannyasi or a recluse, and which have been directly taught to me by the Lord Himself. To me, the highest authority in this behalf is the immortal Lord Srihari, the ruler even of all Prajapatis or lords of created beings, for whom this wonderful universe has emanated, in whom it rests, and in whom again it will disappear. Maitreya went on. The sage Ovidura, the wielder of fierce bow, said only this much and became silent, clinging with his mind to the Lord whose navel is adorned by a lotus. His countenance, which was graced with a smile, captivated the heart of Devahuti. Having further unmistakably known the mind of the queen as well as of Devahuti, the emperor most gladly gave away to the sage, who was endowed with hosts of virtues, his daughter, who matched him well. Empress Satarupa lovingly bestowed on the bride and the bridegroom most valuable presents suited on the occasion in the form of jewelry, raiment, and other articles intended for household use. Relieved of all agony, the emperor enclosed within his arms his daughter, who had been bestowed on a suitable person, with a heart agitated with extreme fondness for her. Unable to bear separation from her, he shed tears again and again, and drenched with them his daughter's looks, crying, "My daughter, my darling." Bidding adieu to the great sage and obtaining his leave, the monarch mounted his chariot along with his spouse and drove to his capital, followed by his retinue, and witnessing the beauty of the hermitage of tranquil-minded seers on both the charming banks of Saraswati, a river so agreeable to sages. Overjoyed to know of his arrival beforehand, his subjects sailed forth from Brahmavrata to greet their lord with songs, panegyrics, and instrumental music. The city of Barhishmati, the capital of Swayambhu, which was rich in all kinds of wealth, was so called because it was here that the hair of Lord Vishnu, manifested in the form of divine boar, dropped from his body as he shook it, and it was these very hair that turned into blades of the evergreen kusa grass, also known by the name of barhis, and the kasas, another species of the grass used for mats, roofs, etc., by means of which the sages got rid of their demons who interfered with the performance of their sacrifices, and worshipped Lord Vishnu through these sacrifices. It is here again that the worshipful Manu spread a seat of kusa and kasas and propitiated the Lord presiding over sacrifices, from whom he had secured a footing in the shape of the terrestrial globe. Having arrived at the city of Barhishmati, where Manu resided, he entered his palace there, which drove away the three types of agony, one that which proceeds from the bodily and mental causes within oneself, the second which proceeds from divine or natural causes, and the third which is caused by other beings. There, in the company of his wife and children, he enjoyed the pleasures of senses that did not interfere with the pursuit of other objects of human aspiration, namely dharma, artha, and moksha. At daybreak every day celestial musicians, along with their wives, sang in chorus in fair renown, but with a loving heart he listened to the stories of Srihari alone. Although Swayambhuva Manu was a past master in the art of creating objects of sense enjoyment, the latter could not in the least drag him down from his exalted mood, devoted as he was to Lord, and gave to a contemplation. Consequently, his hours that gradually brought to an end his long life, consisting of a whole manvantara, were not spent in vain, engaged as he ever was in listening to, contemplating, and composing and narrating the stories of Lord Vishnu. Having transcended the threefold destinies brought about by the preponderance of any one of the three gunas, namely sattva, rajas, and tamas, he thus spent the whole of his manvantara, consisting of 71 rounds of 4 yugas, namely Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali, in pursuits connected with the Lord Vasudeva, such as meditation on his divine form, chanting his names and virtues, and worshipping his images, and so on. How can bodily and mental troubles and those attributable to some divine or human agency or other living beings, O Vidura, son of Vyasa, afflict him who has sought refuge with Srihari? I have thus narrated to you the wonderful story of the first king Swayambhuva Manu, who deserved all praise, and who, in reply to the question asked by certain sages, taught the diverse sacred duties of men in general, as well as of the different varnas or grades of society, and ashramas or stages of life in particular. Friendly disposed as he was to all living beings, now hear of the glory of his daughter Devahuti. Thus ends the 22nd discourse in the book 3 of the great and glorious Bhagavata Purana, otherwise known as the Paramahamsa Samhita. Thank you.